noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome in, Hans and Scotty. We are live at the BYU Media Day golf event, having a blast. Yes, I did make it off the fairway, and I did make it off the fairway before the show started. So I think I deserve some type of award.
Better than the other two-thirds of your posse, right?
Yeah, because Lloyd Cole butted his way into the BYU Media Golf event. And Scotty has decided that he'd rather just golf than do the show. So here we are, me and Jake Hatch, the only two committed guys.
Right?
Yeah. The only two that are actually committed to doing radio today would be Jake Hatch and I.
Okay,
so
we'll go with that.
Pin a rose right on our nose. Hatcher, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Well, it's interesting. Doing about 15 holes out there and BYU Media Day and all the different topics that are swirling around the event. Yeah. And obviously Jake Retzlaff has been the big one. Just multiple people talking about Retzlaff and what his potential is. And I got to imagine it's going to be tough. You got the coaches that are going to be coming into the clubhouse here in probably the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And I got to imagine that the questions will be asked, and we'll see what I'm sure the answer will just remain the same, which is
reference back to the statement they made when it first came out.
Like it's all we're under legal obligation, and there's just not a lot of talking that we can do. And nobody was really jabbering about it. It's like, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? But nobody's like, I know what's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing: if anybody tells you that they know what's going to happen, they're lying.
Yeah,
because I don't think anybody actually knows what's going to happen. I'm talking. Kalani can come up here today and say, hey, we think this, and tomorrow that could change.
Could change, because this is a civil case that's going to take us out through 2026, and who knows exactly how BYU wants to or how BYU can handle it. But I do know that a lot of it is going to have to go through the legal veins of things, where now you've got attorneys involved and a civil suit involved. So that's been one of the big storylines. It was really great to catch up with Brian Santiago out there. And I've known Brian for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. He showed up on BYU campus while I was still playing at BYU. I think it was back in 97 or 98.
He came over with Steve Cleveland, so that would have been 97, I believe, is when Steve came in. So that's the thing about it is that you had him come through, and he has been in this university and the machinations of it for decades. So he knows the inner workings.
Oh, he knows. And out of all the years that I've known Brian Santiago, that's the happiest I've ever seen him.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big hugs and high fives, and, you can tell there's a huge sigh of relief, and that is something that he's worked for many, many years to be able to get that nomination and to be able to receive that label. So he is extremely happy, and you can tell, man, BYU has got momentum. He knows it. Hatch, you know it from being a BYU insider. I know it from being their color analyst, that the inner workings right now of BYU are pretty healthy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about this is a university that's coming like a freight train down the track right now. And there's people that think that the NIL changes with the House settlement are going to slow them down. I just don't see it. I think they're going to keep their thing going. Now, will the way that they operate change? Because, yes, it will change, because the House settlement necessitates that change a little bit. But the boosters that have been ponying up this money to help BYU be a force in the NIL world, they're still there.
They're still there. But as you mentioned, there will be an entity put in place that you are going to have to submit your NIL contracts through, anything over $600, and it will be submitted, and then it will have to be approved. But I talked about this about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Who's to tell me what I can and can't get approved?
Wow.
Who's to tell me what I'm worth?
That is the problem, that this is going to get tied up in legalese.
Right.
Some player is going to have a deal that is going to get nixed by this NIL Go, which is run by Deloitte Consulting. They're going to get upset. They're going to call their dad, university counsel, whoever they have to call. There's going to be a lawyer that's more than willing to say, hey, guess what? Let's litigate this. And when that gets litigated, guess what? Then we're thrown right back into the same problem we've had before. Because I'm with you, Hans. There is no good way for anybody to tell an athlete, because it goes against the very concept of capitalism, to tell you what you're worth.
No, you can't, because of the numbers that we put on people.
Well,
We've got NBA players that are making $70 million.
Well, soon to be $70 million. It's 50 right now, but in the next 5 or so years, it'll be 70 annually.
Well, I think next year.
Did somebody get 70?
Yeah, next year there is a $70 million contract that engages next year.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, we are entering that new reality.
And we'll be at $100 million for an NBA athlete within the next 8.
Absolutely, yeah.
And somebody's going to say, no, but you can't pay him 10. Can't pay him 12. Can't pay him 15. I used to think that the money wasn't there to pay these college athletes, and BYU and many universities have proven me absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And so you can't exactly sign a dollar amount. Now, what the committee could do is say, well, we've put a threshold of $6 to $8 million for your quarterback and a threshold for $8 to $10 million for this, or they might be able to do that. But how do you not get tied back up in legalese?
You are. Yeah.
I would have an attorney, and I would take him to court, and I'd say, actually, take a look at my jersey sales, take a look at my participation, my interest. Take a look at how many times my image pops up on an ESPN broadcast.
Yeah.
Take a look at my stats, and then tell me that I'm not worth $18 or $22 million.
Correct. And I think their whole thought is that revenue share, which is, I think it's $20.5 million is the cap hit this year, they're thinking that might slow that down a little bit. But NIL goes above and beyond that.
Right. That 20.5 is going to be, I'll bet it'll be like a 65-70% distribution to football.
Yes.
I'll bet it'd be about 15-20% to basketball, and then the rest will be divvied out.
Correct.
But that's just what the school is paying the kid.
And that's relative pennies for some of these boosters who want to, let's say a quarterback, for example. The going rate, they've said, is between $2 and $2.5 million.
Well, see, actually, I think...
Is it higher?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that this NCAA versus House settlement, I actually think that it is going to allow the boosters to focalize their money, because everybody's now making money from the university.
Yeah.
And now as an NIL guy, I can say, well, I was paying $80,000 to everybody in the trench. Now I can take all of that. Well, those guys are now making $60,000 to $80,000.
Sure.
I could take all of that NIL money that I was going to nominate or donate, and I can put it on 10 athletes that make the most difference. So you're still going to see some front-loaded efforts for your bigger names offensively and defensively to keep them paid. But that has been one of the bigger storylines while I've been out on the course, is like BYU is in the money.
Yeah.
They are in the recruit-winning business. They are wanting to put their best foot forward and keep the momentum, because they got great momentum.
Yes, they do, and they don't want to lose it.
No, and, right now, the next step for them, when it was an Alamo Bowl and a Sweet 16 for their football and basketball, the next step is, from the Alamo Bowl, the next step is college football playoff, and the next step from Sweet 16 is an Elite 8. That's expected, but it's really a Final Four.
Final Four, yeah.
It's kind of like, no.
Yeah.
We made this Sweet 16 deal with a first-year head coach, and Richie Saunders was our big money guy, and now we got the number one recruit in the world, and we've got the now a second-year coach that proved that he can coach through tournament play, and it is an Elite 8, but more of a Final Four expectation. There's heavy expectation placed on those two departments.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is matching that is the tough part now. We had Jay Hill on. He actually was sitting here this morning with DJ and PK, and they brought up the very point of, like, hey, you guys have expectations heaped upon your shoulders now. And Jay said, yeah, and we got to be able to step up and shoulder that. He understands that last year, where they picked 14th in the preseason poll, like there was
14 to 15.
There was no expectation for that squad going into that season. You mentioned the fact they make the run to the Alamo Bowl, and now, okay, you finished near the top of the conference.
They were picked 13th.
Yeah, okay, 13th out of 16. You finished near the top of the conference. You missed out on the Big 12 title game by one loss. You win one of those two games against Arizona State or Kansas, and you're in the Big 12 title game. And, yeah, now, Hans, it's to make the Big 12 title game, and, yes, it's to make the college football playoff. And then flipping over to basketball, well, guess what? You made it to the second weekend. Now you make it to the third weekend. That's the expectation.
That's the expectation, and that's kind of what everybody out there was talking about. Like, you got to take that next step, and it's got to be a gigantic next step.
You got to have everybody step up.
Because people aren't paying millions of dollars to see second place. That's for dang sure.
No.
The other thought of what BYU is doing right now, BYU knows that there is going to be a drastically changing college football and basketball landscape. More football than anything, that it may be a separate entity. And when they're building the Thanksgiving big kids table,
okay,
and they got the Thanksgiving little kids table, BYU wants to try to be on that big kids table.
Sure.
And which is totally understandable. And the way you do that is you win. And the other thing is they know that the Big 12 is prime for the lead dog picking. Mm-hmm. And they've got an in-conference, in-state rival now that's looking to be the lead dog.
Yeah.
When Utah came out of the Pac-12, they were the lead dog in the Pac-12. Now, obviously, the brands were still USC, and you still had the brands, but Utah was owning people.
Well, they'd made, what, was it 4 straight Pac-12 title games? They had 2 wins in their back pocket in that. They've been to the Rose Bowl twice. You're dead on with that, Hans. There was no arguing that they were that big dog.
They were the big dog, and so Utah's looking at it like, well, we could go own it, and BYU's like, well, we're not going to hand that mantle over. Not being in the same conference. Like, it was hard enough being independent and watching Utah do what they were doing if you're a BYU fan or your BYU administration or your BYU coach. So they have no interest in giving up the momentum that they've got. And it has generated momentum.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of storylines that have circled and surrounded them, and that is leading into solid recruiting for both football and basketball in their 2027s.
Well, and that's the thing is they just finished off their big 2026 recruiting weekend this past weekend. Ryder Lyons was here, Bob Mulatalo, Brock Harris. We're talking the 4- and 5-star prospects BYU has either committed or hopes to have committed in the near future were on campus this past weekend. Well, guess what? You're hoping to cap off, because most people look at this way, Hans. I think you understand this. This June recruiting window here is when your high school guys commit to your program. The rest of the year, it's looking at the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's looking at other guys to bring in from other college programs.
Right.
The guys
a
you
big
commit
weekend that
now
they just had.
are your high school guys. And then, as you mentioned, then it turns the attention to 2027's high school recruits. And you got to keep the momentum from 2026 on into 2027. And that's easier said than done. But as you mentioned, BYU's whole mentality right now is they are in the business of winning recruiting battles. And so far, so good.
Yeah, they've done a lot of good. What are you hearing about Ryder Lyons?
He is announcing tomorrow, and as I understand it, is a true 50-50 shot between Oregon and BYU.
No kidding.
He is not tipping his hand one way or the other, but it is the Ducks or the Cougs.
Well, I saw the crystal ball moved 100% to BYU at one point.
But I continue to hear that Oregon, they are in the mix until he says no. So we'll see.
Well, what was cracking me up was Oregon is releasing, well, what do you want to do, play for money or play to be developed? Oh, Oregon, kiss my butt.
Phil Knight has self-funded that program for decades at this point. They have no leg to stand on if they're talking about playing for money.
Well, it'd be nice to see a guy the caliber of Ryder Lyons sign up and come to the state of Utah. What high school does he play at?
Folsom High School out there in California. So Freddie Whittingham was coaching there before he joined Utah's staff. Kyle Whittingham's had a couple of nephews who've gone through there. You remember Jake Browning from Washington played at Folsom. They have had like this revolving door of elite players come through there. Troy Taylor, former Utah offensive coordinator, Stanford head coach for a short spell.
Yeah.
He was on that staff at Folsom. He's the head coach there for a time. So this is a program that it's elite in terms of the talent, and Ryder's just the latest in, and he would be the true gem of what would be a really, really strong 2026 class.
Well, speaking of strong 2026 and speaking of big-time recruits and high-level talent.
Where?
In walks the legend.
Where?
The voice of the Utah State Aggies. Scott Gerard. How are you, Scotty?
Buddy. I'm sorry. We got held up a little bit.
Well, by held up, you mean you were hitting well? And
no, I was not.
You wanted to take that thing out for a test ride.
No.
Is that what it was?
No. PK, as always, was Mr. Consistent. Just 240 right down the middle. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
He is the ghost of John Pease.
Yeah. He's just right down the middle.
Yep.
Lloyd's irons were hot. And you know who got us going? When we dropped Jake and got David
Scott
James.
Gerard.
No.
David James?
DJ
The hips?
DJ got those hips moving.
Wow, the pair can swing, eh?
Oh, jeez.
I love him. Dude, I love DJ. I love DJ, man. He's just
How'd you do?
Yeah, he's got those childbearing hips that are just good for golf.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just good for golf. So he was smoking it up.
Yeah, he did. He did well.
I love DJ.
He's got the golf bug.
Well,
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So
Did PK get him addicted?
Yeah.
Well, his kids left.
PK
is what
helped.
happened.
His kids graduated, moved on into college and everything. Had a lot more time on his hands. And then my dad decided to go and help him build a set of clubs, and now he's apparently all in on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
see,
where he got those. They're nice clubs.
Yeah.
I don't even like to play at PK because PK is just too consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's a machine.
He doesn't listen to anything. He doesn't play mind games. He just
Oh, he was playing mind games with me a little bit.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
I just feel
Well,
like he
come
goes.
on, that's PK's style.
I know.
Hey,
And it was great. It was fun.
Scotty's out here. Let's go.
I feel like he goes driver off the box and driver to putt. Like
Yep.
It's just PK is just a consistent guy.
It was fun. They
How'd
do a great
you
job.
play? Did you swing a couple?
Yeah, it was rough, man.
Was it?
It's just, frankly, the last course I played was here 2 years ago.
Oh, really? So it's been that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
So went to the range a couple times last week, and, yeah, I'm all over the place. But we'll get it dialed in.
I feel bad leaving our foursome. Our foursome was rocking, man.
Was it?
Yeah, 9 under.
Oh,
We were
geez.
9 under through.
You got Juergens lacing 320 bombs.
Juergens is at 320. Jake Murphy is 310. Both are really good with the not the football playing Jake Murphy, but the salesman Jake Murphy, and they were, and then I was hitting a couple putts here and there. I included a couple of 200 yarders. I've got a nice little rescue.
Nice.
And we got to be close to the money. At least I'm hoping.
We finished second. The zone finished second last year.
But
PK and I took home Minky Couture blankets. I still use it to this day.
By the way, are we getting AJ DeMonsa level prizes off this one?
No.
Like, I'm hoping.
No, we made that joke based on one of the holes that was handing out sleeves of golf balls for the best, and they were the
Precept?
Yeah. No Pro V1s. Pro V1s are for the basketball.
The precepts were back from last year that they had last year.
Yeah.
I still have the sleeve that they gave me last year. It's literally in my car right now. I saw it when I was getting out of my car earlier.
Well, Hatcher, thanks for hanging out with us.
Sorry.
Dude.
Thanks for bailing me out, man.
Appreciate you.
I was going to make Jake go, Jake Hatch, or not Jake Scott go like 20 minutes because he was 20 minutes late for his.
Was
show.
he really?
So that's why I text you. I'm like, yeah, let Jake go the first segment.
But he does a 20-minute show.
I know, right?
I mean, he missed his whole show.
So I text Christian, and he's like, oh, he's already left. I was like, wait, what?
He wrapped extra early today.
Wow. And did Ben golf today or no golf for Ben?
No golf for Ben.
No, Ben apparently doesn't. I couldn't quite figure out where Ben is with his golf game. I was asking Jake, and Jake's like, Ben's not in a good place with golf right now.
That's crazy because I've heard he's a swinger.
So anyway, yeah, it's a good day today. Lloyd was saving us right and left. Lloyd's got a good swing.
No, he doesn't.
He does. He's got a good swing.
He's had 5 repaired shoulders.
Well, that's true.
He's constantly tearing a labrum or in labor. I can't remember which it is.
One of the two.
It's always something.
He's like, oh, my kidney stone.
I'm going to need 3 months off. I can't quite punch the talk off button, so
it's like, oh, I sprained my wrist. We've got a interesting show. We got a lot of people to talk to. Hopefully, we'll have some people to chat with. I know earlier today, Jay Hill was on with DJ and PK, and so if Jay Hill comes back, we're going to put him back on again.
Yeah. A lot of coaches.
I want to chat with him, and I want to chat with Kalani and all these guys.
I caught up with Coach Woods, the offensive line coach, for a bit, and him and Connor Pay, and I was like, man, it'd be nice to have Connor one more year.
Yeah.
It just would be nice because then you could potentially take Lapuaho or Leisa and put him out at the tackle position, and Connor Pay could stabilize everything on the interior. But talked to Coach Woods, and I'm like, Junes just aren't the same. And he echoed the same sentiment. It's like, Junes are not the same, man. You work on June. And we were just talking with Hatch. They just had their big 2026 recruiting visit / meal / official. And that's a really important one. They had they're all there, what they call their big dogs in, trying to land these guys. So we'll see what results from that. I guess Ryder Lyons, the quarterback, is going to be committing tomorrow. And Hatch just said it's still 50-50 between Oregon and BYU.
Really?
That's what he said. And I guess Ryder was in here this weekend doing his thing. And
a lot of confidence around here that they're going to snag that kid.
There's a lot of confidence. And that's what I keep hearing. Like, I'm just talking about grapevine is that they've got the inside track and that they feel confident that they're going to be able to land him. But you know how these things are, Scotty.
Oh, and Nick, you know what? He may have woken up this morning thinking he's going to BYU, and then Oregon can swoop in and add another 0 to the total. And
says something or does something. Or yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was no money involved back in my day, and I made that decision. It was a two-week switch.
Do you think because we know that in your mind you felt like, okay, BYU's where a place I can go and grow up and be a better person. But if there was money involved, how much does that sway you back in the day? If you could climb back into 17, 18-year-old Hans' brain.
Well, if we're talking about let's just talk about today's dollars.
Yeah.
Let's say I was getting a $250,000 offer from one university and a $450,000 from another. Then we're talking about the money plays a role, and you go where the money is.
Yeah.
Same, like let's just say in Ryder Lyons' case, let's say he's got a $1.2 million offer to come to BYU, and Oregon's got a $650,000 offer. Well, you're going to BYU.
Then you're going to BYU.
Let's say it's 1.2 and 1.5. Now I'm like, okay, wait a second. That's still $300,000. That's good money, but where can I develop? Where can I play next year? What quarterbacks am I behind? What is the quarterback? Then you start to play the game, and that's the same when you're an undrafted free agent.
Yeah,
you're going to get somewhere around $100,000 to $180,000 signing bonus. Now you play the game of, did they draft a D tackle? How many D tackles did they draft? Have they signed a free agent D tackle? What was their D tackle depth last year? How many returning starters or how many returning tackles or how many aged out, retired, got traded, and then you play the numbers game. So I think when you're talking about money, if we're talking 15%, anywhere from 10 to 15% change, now it's about the university.
Yeah. And development and NFL and all that stuff,
Yeah, because, I kind of know Aaron Roderick he'll bring Ryder Lyons in and he'll say, well, what are his best attributes? And let's go that direction. I got to imagine Oregon to do the same. I know that Coach Beck, who just took the offensive coordinating job at the University of Utah, that's what he's known for. He'll look at a quarterback and he's not going to say, well, yes, but can you run the prototypical? He'll be like, all right, well, what are his tools? All right, well, he's 5'8", he's 145 pounds, he's lightning fast. Let's put him in this role. He's 6'3", he's got a bullet rocket arm. Let's set pockets and do this. I just think that, coaches nowadays are pretty malleable.
Yeah.
Coaches
they
nowadays,
have to be.
Yeah, the coaches nowadays, they'll look at the top end talent. They'll say, well, what do they do well? And then you got to be able to build around them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can't recruit to your system. You have to recruit the player and develop and then change your system around those players. Because right now everybody's just in huge talent acquisition mode. So you got to get the best player you can get regardless of whether he's a dual threat, drop back, whatever the case is. You're like, okay, that guy is great. Let's get him in here and let's make it work. And that's where they're at.
But I do think Roderick can do a
and that's the great thing about Aaron Roderick. Yeah.
And I would say that Fessie's a part of that. And those guys are still very creative offensive minds. So a big recruiting weekend. These coaches are working their butts off, and I could kind of see it on their face a little bit out there. You can tell that it's like, fun media day event that we're here for.
Loving the fact we're here for this, yes.
But they'll put on their smiles.
Oh, they do. They do. They do a good job. All right, Hans and Scotty, coming up next, we recap the NBA season officially over. The NBA Finals is in the books. And break your heart, hearts are broken for Tyler, or for Haliburton. We'll talk about him coming up next as well. It's all right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Joined now by Brandon Huffman, National Recruiting Editor for 24/7 Sports. Ryder Lyons, a 5-star quarterback. What do you think of Ryder, and what do you think the odds are he ends up in Provo?
I've said for 2 years that I think he's the best quarterback in the country. I know he's a top 5 quarterback nationally. He's the number 1 player in California. For my money, I will take him as the best quarterback. And this is big. I have maintained for a while it was a BYU-Oregon battle, and I have said do not discount BYU's efforts with him. And now they get their shot. They get the last visit. This could end up being the single most significant recruit Kalani Sitake has ever gotten in his 10 years at BYU. So all eyes are on Provo, not just with BYU fans, but I would say college football fans in general are tracking this one.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Number 1.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Thunder fans feel this moment. The uncommon young team proves to be unstoppable. It's over at Paycom Center. Final in Game 7, the Thunder 103, the Pacers 91. A dream realized. The storybook season is complete. The final chapter reads, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the 2025 NBA champions.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder are your NBA champions, winning Game 7 last night. Hans, I was hoping for a little bit more drama, and we didn't get it.
Well, we did. You and I did. Yeah, you and I really did, actually.
We stepped in it in a big way.
Yeah.
I did not, in a million years, anticipate that we would see what we argued about come to fruition.
On both sides. I can't even believe it. He plays a Game 6. They leak through.
Yeah.
They force a Game 7. They go into Game 7. I'm like, oh, he's for sure got the needling, the hyperbaric chamber, the massages, the the electronic care, all of those things that you do. And I'm like, oh, well, he's for sure going to be in better health for Game 7 than he was Game 6 because there was no hiccup or hang-up in Game 6. He looked great coming out of Game 6.
Yeah, in fact, I was thinking, wow, you know what? That whole argument was a waste of time because he looked fantastic.
It almost looked like it was a big no topic.
Yeah, big nothing burger.
It did.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well, and he was universal. It's not like he won Game 6, but he was definitely necessary for it and was critical in extending this to Game 7. But I'm going to tell you, 7 minutes into Game 7, he's cranking out threes. He's sitting 3 of 4 from 3. He was 3 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3 in the first 7 minutes. He couldn't miss. He hit one that was nearly a logo 3.
Yeah.
It was actually a second attempt. He took a shot right at the 3. They got a great offensive rebound, fired it back out to him deep, and he took nearly a logo 3 and splashed it. And I'm like, oh, boy, here goes Haliburton. And then your end of the argument shows up. And I looked at the two guys that I was watching the game with, and I was like, because they knew the audio, they knew the whole argument. I looked at them, and they were like, this isn't looking good for you, dude. I was like, well, it is what it is. But at the very least, Haliburton was out there.
Yeah.
He was pressing himself. But you're right now, Scotty, as a businessman, I've got $60 million sitting on my bench next year.
Yeah, and that's the interesting – and if you want to go back and listen to the audio we posted on social media, it's out there. You and I – and we don't really get after each other very much on the show arguing.
No.
But we had a pretty good debate about what do you do with Tyrese Haliburton if you have any indication that he could tear his Achilles. And you said, hey, look, you leave it up to him. Make him decide. And if he wants to go, you go. And I said, hey, if you're a GM, if you're as a businessman, if you're an owner, if you're a coach, and you have to think long-term, you think to yourself, okay, do I sacrifice a game or two with him on the bench to make sure that he's healthy going into next season and the season after that and can always be the same player as he goes into the peak of his career? I probably hold him back. And even if he wants to go, I tell him you can't go. And unfortunately, he's out next year and maybe out a good chunk of the following year too.
And I am not letting this opportunity go. Oh. No, I'm not.
screw you as a businessman. Screw you. You can go to hell. There's a reason that you're a businessman, because you couldn't make it as an athlete. So your ass is out there trying to make money. Let me be the competitor. I'll take us to a game 7.
That's great until it doesn't happen, and then my butt gets fired because I can't win games, because you are sitting there cutting a check because nobody's going to let you go because you're earning all that money.
Your butt should get fired for trying to bench me. That's what your butt should, because you're weak. You're spineless. You ain't got a competitive bone in your body. You're trying to bench me? You're spineless. You should be fired anyways. I think that's good. That's good. That's good. But you know what? Honestly, both sides of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So this was the big point of my argument. It's like you're running a marathon, and you're in the final mile and a half of that marathon, and you're in the lead. And you start to feel it all coming up. Or you start to feel like I could die, like I'm dehydrated. But you're right there. The finish line is right in front of you. It might be the right choice for your health to stop and take a drink of water, but it's the wrong choice because you could win the marathon. They had gone through 82-game season. They had gone through 3 other series. Yeah. They were already through 5 games. They were showing up for Game 6 to extend to Game 7, and it was like, no, man, you're within a mile left of this marathon. You freaking grit it, and if you pass out within 200 yards of it, at least you could say, hey, man, I was there. I was in the lead on that marathon. And they can say that now because they were in the lead.
Yep, and he was playing lights out.
They were in the lead. And then his team actually surrounded the injury in the first half, and they went into the half up by 1.
Yeah.
And I was still thinking, wait a second, is this a do it for Haliburton cry? And then it wasn't.
McConnell can only do so much.
Yeah.
It just is a situation. It's a, I don't want to say a no-win situation. I would have loved for Tyrese Haliburton to continue to play and for the Pacers to win a championship and be like, okay, I did it. The problem is, if you're a GM and you're a head coach, these are the things that might end up getting you fired because you're going to suck next year. You're not going to be good. And then you're not, and he may never be the same player. Now, Kevin Durant was able to come back and be reasonably the same player, but not the same.
No, nobody has ever been the same.
And so you look at like, okay, we had this guy.
He was good.
We had this guy who was on path to be an elite special player in this league, and we don't know when he's going to come back, and we don't know how good he's going to be when he comes back. Was it worth it? For Haliburton, though, I'm with you. Like, what would Haliburton rather do? Lose sitting on the bench and being ready to go next season, or shredding an Achilles knowing that you did everything you could to get your team across the finish line?
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's what I would want to do. It's what I would hope to do.
I mean, now he might be in the middle of rehab being like, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
I guarantee he's waking up this morning thinking, wait a second, I've made some bad decisions.
Yeah.
That thing is going to be on fire, and then they're going to cut into it. They're going to have to reattach it, and there's going to be all kinds of problems that surround it. You can get extra keloiding or extra scarring, and you could have to re-break or you have to re-operate. I mean, you could get infections. I mean, we've seen all kinds of things happen in these kinds of cases, and you just hope that it all goes smooth and he can come back. But you're absolutely right. The Pacers are not going to be a contender without Haliburton next year.
And then, so Boston blows it up. Or it seems like they're going to blow it up. You got right now the team sitting pretty through all this is Cleveland, and Donovan Mitchell's like, all right.
And if Milwaukee can settle things,
that's true.
But I don't know what Milwaukee's up to. But this is shocking. In a single postseason, Jason Tatum ruptured Achilles. Damian Lillard ruptured Achilles. Was his a ruptured Achilles?
Yes. Yep.
And
Haliburton.
Now you got Haliburton. Am I missing one?
I think it's 3, and all 3 of them wear number 0, by the way.
And all 3 wear number 0. That's wild. I didn't even know that. But you think about what the heck has happened with Achilles in the postseason? Like you said, those are life-altering.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard, probably done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, probably, if not done, he'll have some type of...
It's a farewell tour for him.
Yeah, some type of get back and one more last hurrah.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, it's going to be a long recovery. And the other hard thing about this, and you did reference it when we were in that debate. I call it a debate, not an argument. But in the back and forth, was you essentially just ripped your leg in half in the state championship game. It was the last game of the year.
Yeah.
Which means you're 12 months from last night. And, now you're talking about getting back and maybe a little bit of summer league play or some type of, I don't know if there's international play that he'll be a part of that you start to get warmed up in. But the first time he'll really see the court is the following fall for camp.
I bet he won't play until Christmas of 26.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Because
I don't think he'll start the season in 27.
He'll be available to start to warm into September, October.
Yeah.
But then you might be on the court in November, but really starting to prime December of 26, going into January of 27. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
And now it's like, now I have to face the consequence of your ownership argument. It's like, oh man. And if he didn't tell it straight, if he was like, no, I don't feel pain. There was no pinching in Game 6. I'm totally healthy. Fighting Images and doctors are going to be called to the table.
Oh yeah.
Like, I want you to bring those MRIs and let's take a look at what you saw. Because should he have been on the court? Well, he was telling us he could be on the court. He was on the court for Game 6. Why wouldn't he be okay for Game 7? Well, why was he on the court for Game 6 when Game 7 he ripped this thing out? And everybody's going to be questioned. Because you're right, this is a multi-million-dollar business. And you are paying money now for somebody to rehab through an entire season.
Yeah. And it's
just the worst. And it's overshadowed Oklahoma City Thunder's championship.
Oh, yeah. Well, and sad part is Oklahoma City, I'm with you on this. I think they probably win this series or win that game even if Haliburton's healthy and plays the entire game. I think.
But they weren't ahead. But
you're right. But the problem is that people are always going to look at that game and they're going to look at this series and it's going to have a little asterisk to it. And they're going to say, oh, yeah, Oklahoma City won, but Haliburton got hurt in Game 7 when they were leading.
Yeah.
And which is a shame because Oklahoma City should be able to puff their chest out and say we won this series. But no, this will always be referenced, the Haliburton injury series.
Was that one of the more quiet championships you've seen?
Yes.
Yeah, Oklahoma City fans were pumped, but I put it into terms of, let's just say that Utah Jazz are in a Game 7 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Donovan Mitchell has put on 3 massive performances just to force a Game 7, and Delta Center's packed in, and Jazz are about to win a championship, and Donovan's got the Cavs up by 4 or up by 5. He's 3 of 4 from 3 and looks on fire and blows an Achilles. And it's like, I know that's a little bit different because Jazz fans have some history with Donovan Mitchell, but the players on the court are sick for them, even though you would like them to be competitors and not care. In fact, just kind of run right past it. But it does put this ugly calm over the whole thing that I don't like. And if I'm covering the Utah Jazz and we're coming out of that, we'd be talking about championship, but you'd be like, geez, man, that was hard to watch. And it was one of those ruptures that's just hard to watch.
Yeah. You sent me the video because I was watching on a delay, and I saw the video. It just makes your heart just rip apart watching that.
It does, and it's just one of those stop-start ruptures where he puts his toe in the court, he goes to put extra pressure to vault himself, and it just the heel goes straight down to the court.
Well, after this, I guarantee you, if somebody has a strained calf, they're sitting for a long time.
Well, and we need to start figuring out what's going on with this.
Yeah.
3 of these now in the postseason alone. I thought that there was a 4th. Not as big a name as Lillard, Tatum.
There very well could be. I can't recall. Those are the 3 that I know of off the top of my head.
But don't you have to go to the drawing board a little bit? And say,
Oh, yeah.
I think there was 8 total throughout the season. There were 3 in the postseason. Achilles tears alone.
8 seems like a huge number.
It's the most ever. I think it's the most ever in an NBA season.
Well, I can tell you what everybody's going to, And it's the old fallback of, why are we playing 82 games?
Yeah, people are going to say that for sure.
Why are we playing 82 games?
Well, and then you know what the players are going to do? They're going to push back. They're like, oh, remember, you're fining us, or we're not eligible for postseason awards if we don't play X amount of games. And we've been trying to rest up so that we can be playing our best basketball and be our healthiest in the playoffs. But yet, no, Adam Silver and everybody's being all mad and fining teams for resting players when we're just trying to preserve ourselves and make sure that we're in the best possible situation come the playoffs. And so now, because he made us play so much, now we're running on empty on strained calves and we're shredding our Achilles. So thanks for that.
Yeah. And as a commissioner, don't you have to stop and just say, maybe we need to take a look at this?
Yeah. Everything's on the table right now. Everything. Because you cannot lose guys like this.
But you also can't lose games.
No. There's no way they're going back from 82.
So what they could do is extend the roster.
Yep. Yeah, that's a possibility.
They could extend the roster and just say, all right, well, we'll incorporate Summer League right through the season. And there could be a deeper roster. There could be some rotational things, and just allowing players to be sat.
Yeah.
And coaches saying, okay, because, I mean, we do see that in the NHL. You know, what was Jay Stevens said that the average season length for a goalie was at 57 games or 58 games?
It was in the 50s.
Out of the 82?
Yeah.
I thought it was in the 50s.
I think you're right, yeah.
And there's
that streak that Veggie went on was ridiculous, and it was 14 straight games or 15 straight games,
14,
which you wouldn't think would be that much, but
it was a
like,
record-breaking streak.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would think of roster ways to reduce through roster and take the strain up. But then again, what was the season length that John and Carl were playing?
82,
right?
And those dudes played 82 games.
All 82.
All 82. And they never dealt with these kind of injuries.
Well, let me tell you, Tyrese Haliburton, he played 73 games this year.
Mm. And that's what sucks, is you hate that a guy that really busted his butt all season long and only missed 9 games on the year, when you want to put him up on this pedestal and say, look at this, he's a tough guy, he plays when he can, misses very few games, and then everybody else is like, nope. That's the guy. Oh,
I just can't believe what we just saw, man. I cannot believe what we just saw.
You better watch yourself.
Oh, man. I'll pass rush on him. Well, I'll still run one-on-ones with you, Jay. I'll run one-on-ones with Jay.
Hans and Scotty, we're live here at the BYU Media Golf Tournament here in Cedar Hills. Love this course. Always a blast coming out here. Sorry for dropping my phone in your food, man.
No, you're good. I think it just hit part of my rice. Okay. BYU does an amazing job with this.
They do it right.
And I love that they've kept the tradition, because for 11 years we ran the BYU Media Independent Day Media, and they did such a great job, and we were there every year. And to be able to incorporate that, where you still get to bump elbows with the coaches, and you get to talk with the athletic director, and you get to talk a little bit with your SIDs. It's just a brilliant way to keep you connected with BYU. And what is this now? Third year?
Third year.
Third year of this.
Yeah. I know that because 2 years ago, and the first one was the last time I played golf.
You haven't played golf since then?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's.
Did you connect a little bit, though?
By the end of it, I got it figured out.
Okay.
You know what I didn't anticipate is how much dropping LBs would screw with your swing.
Oh, it changes everything.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I'm down 40 pounds, and it changes everything for me.
Yeah. I mean, it was throwing me for a loop big time.
I used to have to get around my drive like I'm Dolly Parton.
Same.
Yeah, you're swinging wide.
Yeah. All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What you may have missed coming up next. Throwing on a headset with us is the head football coach at BYU, Kalani Sitake. Kind enough to join us. Coach, how are you?
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Can you believe it? You caught me eating.
And a salad of all things.
Yeah.
You've changed, Hans. We used to be allergic to salad.
Oh, man.
Now you're over here eating them.
We used to call people they'd ate salads rabbits, and now here we are.
Yeah, look,
We
old age does
We were
it.
different creatures back then too.
Metabolism was different back then, that's for sure.
Oh, man, that's the whole change.
Yeah.
Get a little bit older, and all of a sudden your body's like, yeah, I'll just attach that to the side of your chest. Like that. You don't even need to eat it.
Yeah,
Just look at it.
We can't just eat what we want now.
No.
Sadly, no.
But you're looking good. Look at you. All in good shape.
I'm just wearing 3X shirts now instead of 2X.
How's the golf game? You don't want it to be too good because then
No,
people are like, okay, well, he's spending too much time on the course.
People have seen me golf enough today to know that I'm not doing any of that. I'm spending a lot of time trying to hang out with the boys and making sure our team's ready to go. But fortunately for us, we have some good golfers on the coaching staff. Jay Hill, Fessy, those guys can hit. So,
What was your group? Who was all in your group?
it was me, Jay,
so you guys.
David Almodovar, and Casey Stauffer.
So you built out a. What did you finish?
I think 8 under.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's not great. But, Fessy and them were hitting into us. They're behind us. And
I bet they were.
Usually Fessy's on my team. I think it's kind of messed up. They're making the Sitake boys play on separate teams.
That is messed up.
Yeah, it is. Who's in charge of this
Was that by
tournament?
design?
Yeah, who built
All I
these
know
out?
is when the Kalani Classic was rolling, it was pretty. I mean, me and Fessy were going to be together. So if there's a golf tournament, put me with Fessy only because he's a great golfer. Did you finish birdie on that, Fess? Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Fessy just came over and flexed at you.
Whether he did or not, he's going to say it was a birdie.
We're 10 years apart. I picked up the game at 22, and he picked it up at 12, so he better be good.
We were just starting out this show, and I was talking about this is the first time I'd seen Brian Santiago since he was given the athletic director label. And I've known him for a lot of years. Showed up at BYU in '97, and when he walked out of the car, it's the happiest I've ever seen him. Big smile, big hugs, a lot of joy. You can tell that there's a lot that's gone off his shoulders, and this was a big moment for him. What's it been like kind of working with him? You just talk about who's in charge of the tournament. I got to imagine he's got something to say with it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at what he's able to do. I mean, he's been here for over 2 decades, so he's the right guy for the job, and I know that he'll get the not only just the BYU football program but the entire athletic department rolling, and he's created some momentum already, and us as coaches love following his leadership, so we're excited to see what he can do in his tenure, and I'm excited because he's. Him. He's such a competitive young man. I mean, or gentleman that he's really competitive. That it's like, I like it. I like guys that refuse to get off the court until they lose. Until they get a win and things like that. I mean, he's the guy that needs to get a perfect switch to get off the court, and needs to get a birdie to get off the course. And so, I can imagine what he requires and what he expects of us as a football program.
What I like too is he was like, I understand what university this is. He said, I know this is a football university. And he placed a lot of emphasis on football, and that did my heart good because I know he's a basketball guy. But I can tell that he's all about football.
Well, I mean, he's a BYU guy, so, he had a great relationship with Lavelle and Patty and their entire family. They grew up in the same area in Rock Canyon, in their neighborhood there. And so he's really well connected to the department, the athletic department, and the family's connected to BYU. So it makes a lot of sense. I know that President Reese, when he mentioned the job and the opening, that they were going to find a BYU guy, and they found him. So I'm excited to see what we can get done. I've known him for a long time, and I've been excited working with him the last 10 years as the head coach, and now it's his baby, and that's what Tom wanted. Tom Homo wanted to pass the baton to him, and so it just worked out the way it's supposed to, and now here we go. Now it's his time, and I think Tom's encouraging him to make it his own, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
From what you've had to deal with the last couple of years, and to what every day it seems like it's a new world, and then you got the house settlement to throw a wrench into everything, and who knows what else is coming down the pipeline. Has this been the hardest take the coaching and the whistle and the X's and O's out of it? Is this the hardest time to be a coach in Division I athletics right now? And maybe hard's not the right word, but more complex, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's different. But I think if you're going to be a college coach, you better get ready to adjusting. And if you want to be with the times, and you better be innovative. You better find a way to be creative to make sure that it's a competitive advantage for you. Otherwise, you're going to be caught complaining about everybody else moving past you. And so I think we have a system and a staff and an administration that has a lot of expectations of us. I'm excited to meet them. We still have a long ways to go, but in this game, whether it's the schedule or lawsuits and house settlements, things like that, we have to be able to adjust on depth chart, all that stuff. And so my job is to get our team to play at its best, and when we do, then it looks a lot like what we did in the bowl game, and hopefully we can get that done every week. That's the goal.
Well, just from the outside looking in, it appears like you adapt well. Like, what is it about you that you think, well, I adapt well? Because it doesn't feel like there's been any hiccups. We talk about Coach Whittingham sometimes, and we're like, hey, look, he's been in it a long time, and he's set in his ways. Can he adapt? And he's continued to adapt and do what he's got to do. But I watch you, and I'm like, geez, you make it seem so fluid. There's no major speed bumps or hurdles. It just feels like you just kind of go with the flow.
Well, first of all, Coach Witt's great with adapting too, and so
he has been.
Yeah, and all the coaches that are getting in, they you have no choice but to. But
there's some that don't.
Well, yeah, there are some that don't, but I think it's all a transition no matter what you're trying to get done. I think at BYU we've always been thankful and appreciative of whatever we get, and then we make the most out of it. That's kind of what we do. And so you tell me that I can get this much, and I'm gonna get there, and I'm gonna toe the line and be at that point at every time. And that my goal is to try to make the most of what we got. And that's fortunately for me and you, Hans, that's all we've been saying our whole lives, even when we're young men. That's like. And they said, hey, we need a running back to run faster. I was like, okay, go to Ronnie Jenkins. I'll block for him.
I'll block, yeah.
Yeah, give it to Jamal. I'll block for him, and give it to, all the faster guys.
I need a linebacker that can cover two gaps. Well, here's Rob Morris.
Yeah, he can do it. But what I can do is I can find those guys to do it, but I'll have a role. And I love what I do, and so but to answer your question, I get to coach the most amazing young men. And they lead the way. This is their generation. And then I get to be around an amazing fan base that I absolutely love being around. I mean, I went on a cruise ship with them for 7 nights, and that I'd do that every week if you let me.
Would you really?
Well, free food.
Well, the food, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if I need a moment to myself, I just go to the casino. Nobody was there.
I did run into Tom after that, and I'm like, were the bartenders like the most grumpiest people in there? He's like, yeah.
Oh, they just adjusted. They just got. They had to adjust too. We're talking about adjustment.
Yeah.
They just made drinks like they were working at at all the soda shops.
Yeah, there we go. So how do I make this dirty Diet Coke everybody keeps talking about?
So I mean, it all works. We still listen. We don't drink alcohol, but we love the sugar. So.
Oh yeah,
and
the caffeine.
Yeah. And throw a cookie in there, will you, please, for me? And we're just. The point is that I love what I do because I get to be around amazing people, and we're doing it together. If I was trying to do it by myself, then we'd be in a whole lot of hurt. So I'm lucky that I get players like Chase, and you just saw PK and Tanner and those guys walk by. Man, I love that our team loves to play golf and spend hours with each other. Mm-hmm. Put away the phones, just put it down, just go and hang out with each other.
That's how we used to be.
Yeah, and we just go have a good time, and then you look at it, it's like, wow, 5 hours just flew by. And I don't know if we're setting them up for success in the future because their wives are going to have to get used, their families are going to get used to them playing golf because they love to do it. But there's worse things to do.
Carlos still stays at the house 3 nights a week.
Yeah, so nothing's changed. But that's what we do.
We still play 007.
Yeah, we have good marriages. It's because we're not home enough to mess them up.
Exactly.
And then when you are, your wife usually says, "Hey, shouldn't you go to work today?" It's like, that's a sign I'm going. Yeah.
Well, you're asking me to.
That's
right. Then I will go.
Well, then I will go play 9 holes then.
Let me just wrap up this session of Grand Theft Auto, and I'll be on my way.
Hey,
you need an NIL deal for the gaming industry.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to make sure I ask this the right way. I honestly, I know you can't make any comments specifically about the situation per se, but is there a timeline in which you need to know if you will have certain players available for you at the quarterback position going in? And do you kind of know, like, does it have to be before fall, or how does that play out for you?
Well, I'm going to control the things that I can control, and then do the best I can to help support everyone involved and make sure that people feel valued and they feel loved. And that's for everyone involved with whatever we're discussing in terms of our program. And so that's my goal. And as we go through that, obviously, time will tell what happens, but my goal is to make sure that the stuff I can control, which is my attitude and my approach to them, is as good and as clean as I'm allowed to.
Well, this season is shaping up to be really interesting. I actually pulled out the numbers from last year. If you remember, and I'm sure you do, BYU was voted as the 13th in a 16-team conference preseason. You guys finish third, and you have an opportunity in that Arizona State game to be right there. It was such an impressive season. It was so much fun to watch. What types of expectations do you set for your team now, Coach? Like, and do you pressure? Do you put pressure on staff? Do you put pressure on kids? How do you handle that?
I just want us to play at our best, and if we can do that, I think we'll be happy with the results. That's always been what I've said every year. We have a lot of work to do. I mean, I'm happy that a lot of people were excited about last season, but that's gone already, and we have to learn from those moments that we didn't play at our best. I don't think we play at our best every week last year. So that's my job as a head coach, make sure that we play at our best every week, and start with Portland State, and away we go. So that's the goal. I know that it requires a lot of work. I can't control what other people, where they select us and things like that, but our guys aren't blind. They see what's going on, but we have a lot to prove. And it's more to prove to ourselves, and I think if we can get that done, I think everybody else will be proven. We can just make a statement on us just trying to be the best version of ourselves, be our best, and see what happens.
Do you address things differently? Because we referenced Kyle, and Kyle loved this us against the world kind of mentality, and you could play that. You could say, hey, we were picked almost last in the Big 12. Go out, prove people wrong. Well, now you come off that success and the walloping of Colorado in that bowl game, and now people think, oh, BYU, you put it up on a pedestal. As a pseudo-psychiatrist to your team, which is one of the many hats that you have to have as a head coach, do you motivate differently, or is it just, hey, let's just keep it the same thing we do every single day and every single game?
I think we've been really consistent with the messaging with our players. Obviously, when I talk to the media and I talk to the fans, it's a little different, but for the players, the bowl game was great, and I like that we played. That was the best game we played all year, right?
Most complete.
But it wasn't
so good.
It wasn't our best still, right? So hey guys, we're getting closer. My message was we're getting closer, but we got to fix a few things, and all it takes is a few tweaks and a few things with the fundamentals. We don't have to do too much. If we make the right decisions and we do things the right way, we're going to be in a better position so that we can perform like that. It's like the game of golf. You're trying to find your perfect swing, and once you find that mojo, man, then you start hitting like Fessy, and the game gets easier. And you're not hitting on a hill or
he hits so pure.
I know. It's like they're always playing in the fairway, and
it's always compressed.
That's
He's
a
got
great life.
Backspin.
Yeah.
He can work the ball.
But you want to find out about bunkers? Come see me.
Yeah, yes. Okay. You're the bunker king.
I have tons of experience with that.
But that's dealing with adversity. There's things you can learn from that.
I don't like the easy route.
Yeah.
The balls I hit are like me. They like the beach. So here we go.
Hey, last thing from me, Kalani. What's the highlight of being a head coach and having a last-second throw against Oklahoma State for a win, or a last-minute drive and a field goal for a big win over University of Utah, and taking them down now back-to-back years? Like, these big wins that you have, is the high better than when you and I were playing and we get a big win? Is it a bigger high when you're a head coach? Is it the same high, completely different? Is it different than as a dad watching your kids who are just beautiful and great athletes? Is it different watching?
I think it's different for everyone, but you remember when we were playing, nothing felt better. But what feels better is when you're working with young men and you see all the sacrifice they put into it. I get why Lavelle was so tuned into us. getting what we deserve and then working hard for it. And Lavelle was big on preparation. He wasn't really concerned about the performance. He was like, hey, if we prepare well, then everything will work out the way it's supposed to. But I love seeing the fans, number one, the excitement and energy with the fans, and then I love seeing the players and their families just enjoying the entire moment. That's what it's all about for me. And I don't know if you can put a value on that for me. Those are moments that I will take away forever for the rest of my life. And we have them, Hans. We could sit here and probably draw on the top 5 as of us as players and teammates. But it's just different. It's like when you have kids. I don't have grandchildren yet, but everyone tells me how that's awesome. So I knew that I loved my wife and that was something special. But then I had kids, and it's like,
different kind of love.
Different, and it's like,
yeah.
And then I don't have grandkids, and it's like, but when you see your children play, it's different. I get more joy watching my children enjoy it and have fun.
Yeah, I do too.
Than when I played. So this is a family thing, man. That's why I think the game of football. It's I think a lot of people say that in heaven there's going to be a court up there because everybody plays basketball and golf. But that might be true. But I'm pretty sure the Savior's going to be watching the football game going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, there's no question.
It's a heavenly game because it requires an entire team to buy in. And I like the entire environment of it. And so to me, it's seeing the fans and looking up in the stands and seeing grandparents, parents, and children enjoying the moment. There's nothing better than that.
Coach, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care. Appreciate it.
Kalani Sitake, head coach, BYU, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, we'll take a break, come back, and kick off your 1 o'clock hour straight ahead right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.